Welcome to the Volunteer and Combination Officer section weekly webinar series. Our attendees are in for a real treat today. A different kind of topic, building tomorrow's leaders with passion and pride. So we're looking forward to our presentation today. Before that, I got to do a little political stuff and then we'll get into the content of this. You know, we're using voice over IP if the system should fail for whatever reason. The easiest thing for you to do is log out, log back in, and more than likely it will work. If not, you can email webinars@ifc.org, or if you can get into the chat function, you can send me a message in the chat function and we'll see if we can help you. After the presentation, Chief Allen's presentation will be uploaded and you'll be able to download it in the handout section. We want you to be involved in the chat as the presentation goes on. If you have a comment about something she made, I will save those comments to the end. But if there's something that she says that you absolutely don't understand, then I might interrupt her. But more than likely, we're going to let her finish her presentation and then do the chat and questions and answers at the end. Who is the V2S and what are they doing, hopefully, to improve the fire service? This is a bunch of different things that we do. We got next month in Dallas, Texas, Fire Rescue International. Our big event is in November in Clearwater Beach, and we hope if you've not registered for it, you get registered. I think we're at about 380 people out of 500 that can register. So if you plan to show up, you better get registered because we've been sold out for like 8 years. And when we sell out, that means the hotel is full, multiple hotels are full, and there's no seat in the classroom. So we hope you will come to Symposium in the Sun. And here's some of the other things the V2S is doing. And I'm not going to read them to you because you all can read and take a screenshot if you want to know what we're doing. Already mentioned that, so we'll go on. The V2S has a new relationship with Vector Solutions. And basically, you get a 10% discount and you don't have to pay the initiation fee or the registration fee. And I know there's a lot on this slide, but I would again encourage you to take a screenshot. If you don't use Vector Solutions for managing your training program, it is one tool that might help you get a little closer to compliance with OSHA regulations and other training standards that you might have at your fire department. So we encourage you to look at Vector Solutions as one possible solution. So our presenter today is Chief Cheryl Allen. She is the fire chief of Russellville, Kentucky Volunteer Fire Department, and she is also the fire chief at Logan Aluminum. She has many firsts in her life, but she was the first woman who was appointed to the State Fire Commission in the state of Kentucky. And that, as being the former State Fire Academy director, I know that's not an easy thing to achieve. She is guided by her faith and her drive to help people. I met her in a class she was sitting in my class in February in Owensboro, Kentucky, and she talked about the passion and how she has passion for the job still today, 40 some odd years after she started in this business. So Chief Allen, it's all yours, and break a leg.
All right. Thank you, John, for that introduction. I appreciate that so much. Very humbled to be here today, and John asked me to come and present this class, and I was very honored to do so. This class is a class that I put together several years ago, not many, but several years ago, to try to relay how important it is for the firefighters to know how important they are and what they mean to the communities in which they serve. This class is part of an 8-hour presentation that I do, with the first part getting into the different types of leadership, the different styles and the applications to which they can be used. But today we're just going to focus on the last half of it, which is called Why Are You Here? And by that, I mean, if you're a part of the fire service, I want you to realize after the end of this class just how important that you are to your fire department and how important you are to your community. This class is to allow you to examine yourself to see if you measure up to what the public expects and also what they deserve. We're going to explore some questions to make you think about yourself and why you joined the fire department in the first place. Were your reasons good? Were they bad? Or both? Um, I'll tell you my perspective is pretty much in this PowerPoint presentation that you're about to see as to why I feel like that you are important and the importance of you being in the fire service itself. You'll either go away with this program wanting to hopefully inspire you to be a better leader, a better firefighter, a better EMT, whatever field you're in. This is geared more toward firefighting because that's what I do, but I'm also an EMT as well. So you may come away very inspired, or you may say, hey, this is really not for me, and I need to go flip some burgers at McDonald's where I can't hurt anybody. So that's kind of where we go with this. I do pray that you will get some information that will help you in your journey as we go through this presentation. You know, the first slide is, what do you want to be as a success? Do you want to be a success when you grow up? I think as children, we all want to be successful, and we inspire each of us to go down our different paths. But did you even imagine yourself sitting where you are today as a person in the fire service, EMS, whatever your field may be? And now that you're here, sometimes, we ask ourselves, well, what's next? Because this field can be very overwhelming. If you want to be a success, you've got to be able to open yourself to new ideals. You've got to be able to work with the young and the old. You want to improve your station. Once you join it, you want to be an improvement to it. You have to be team oriented above all else. And I say to people, choose the window, not the mirror, because the journey that you're about to embark on is not an I journey. It's about we. I consider the fire service as the people who are in it, we own it. And it's up to us to protect it. You must be willing to take responsibility when things fail or don't go right, and also be able to give credit to the team when they do succeed. Again, this is about team. This is not about I. If you're going to be a great leader, you need to be very thick-skinned. You need to be able to be a good listener and also be respectful. You have to be a face-to-face person, have integrity, and own the issues. You've got to help your team find solutions to the problems that they encounter. You also have to be able to stand up for others, whatever problems that you have going on. And be nice above all. Make sure you're doing the small things, like taking out the trash, cleaning the fire station, things of that nature. So being a success is kind of wrapped up into a lot of entities that we've just talked about here. And all of them are of great importance, like I said, from taking the trash out to being the best firefighter. So let's talk a little bit about the purpose of the class and what is the purpose. And I want you to question as we go through here why you are in the fire service. I want you to ask yourself why, and am I making a difference? At the end of the day, we all want to make a difference in the world that we live in. Ask yourself, do you have a vision? A great vision without people is irrelevant. And are you willing to go the extra mile to be great at what you're doing? Why are you here? Are you ready to give it all to be the best you can? And then I'm going to talk about some reasons why you should not be here. We'll get into those a little bit more in the presentation. But people sometimes come into our houses, our firehouses. You'll hear me reference firehouses, fire stations. I consider mine a firehouse, but sometimes I do call it station. It's a house because we're there together a lot, uh, and hang out together a lot. And I want it to feel like a home and a safe place. Um, but some of the reasons, that maybe you shouldn't be here, you might want to question yourself and your attitude. Are you always the negative Nancy when you come in? Can you interact with people without getting upset or angry? What kind of personality do you have to bring to the fire service? Is it going to be positive or is it going to be negative? And hopefully, at the end of this presentation, I will give you some reasons of why that you should be here. This class should give you a better understanding of what the fire service is about or what it should be about. The class should help you with the hiring process at your station. And you'll need to ensure that you add the right folks to your department. If you add the right people to your department, the problem of how to motivate and manage people largely will go away if you pick the right people. You need to begin with who rather than what. Who do we need to add to our team? It just makes things a lot nicer when you have the right ingredients at the station to make for a good team. So just think about that when you're adding people to your mix and how they fit in. The presentation should also help you weed out your garden. And these are just my terms in a professional way. And what I mean by that is, sometimes we get weeds that grow in amongst us and cause us a lot of turmoil. And how do we get rid of that? How do we get rid of the baggage in our department? And can you fire a volunteer? Well, yes, you can. And there's ways to do it that are what I call politically correct. You don't have to be ugly. You don't have to be any of that. But you can get rid of baggage that's weighing your fire department down, or deadwood, whatever you want to call it. Again, your department depends on everyone from the floor sweeper to the best extrication person you have to be successful. You need to be able to check your attitude at the door because it's going to dictate the mood of your whole night when you're there to do training. So, again, I'm going to give you a few tips on how to do some of this stuff in a way that it's not as stressful. So let's talk about the call. Let's get into that before we get into all the meat of the program. Do you love it? Do your ears prick up when you hear sirens? Can you tell what kind of fire is burning just from the smell of the smoke? If you've been around for a while, you'll be able to tell that. If you're like me, when I hear sirens, I wonder, hey, what's going on? What's happening down the street? And is there a way I can help? Do you have those same initiative? Do you think maybe I can help? Do you drive around when you're in strange places looking for the fire stations just so you can feel at home? I've often told people that anywhere I go, I have family. All I have to do is find a fire station and I can find family. So that's the great thing about being in the fire service. We're very camaraderie type people, and we help each other. So if you're one of these people, then you're like me. You've responded to the call to be a public servant through firefighting or EMS or whatever choice that you've chosen to be a servant. And the story of our lives, on duty, we wait for the next call. When it comes, we go. We don't wish for bad things to happen, but if they do, we want to be there. We work to make a difference in others' lives. That's what we should be doing. We should be inspiring to be better at what we do attend our training, and train hard, train like lives depend on it, because they do. All of us come from many varied backgrounds, yet we work side by side to serve our communities and our citizens. We have new challenges that face us daily. Some's just tension, and some days it's dealing with the death of a child. So, you need to ask yourself, because this is what you're signing up for, and are you really ready for this life? Again, this is about being the right person for the right job, and being motivated by all those things we just talked about. I really want you to know what you're getting into if you're thinking about getting into the fire service, and if you're already here, what it means for the people that you're serving, for you to take your job seriously. Our mothers, they always worry about us. We train, we study, we perform drills, we practice scenarios, review previous calls to improve. We do that not to call out mistakes, but to try to improve our response, and things that we can fix and do better for the next time. We should always strive for perfection. We should love this vocation, always, or you should. Our mothers are still going to worry about us, and our families have accepted the possibility that the job we do, sometimes we may not come home. There are people that don't go home every day when they answer the call. Sometimes our sleep is interrupted by visions of the destruction and the losses that we encounter. So ask yourself, are you ready? Are you chosen? When I encounter these interruptions, it's my faith that gets me through those moments. I'm not in charge of anything. I'm just there to simply help, and the good Lord gives me that peace that I need to deal with the aftermath. So let's talk about a little bit about fire department success, and we're going to bounce around until we get into the meat of some of this. So, fire department success. Success is about continuous effort to learn, continuous effort to improve, continuous effort to make your firehouse and the world a better place. So, what is it that you've done over the past few months to learn? Have you been attending seminars? Are you going to classes? Are you help teaching classes? Are you motivating people? Are you improving day by day, week by week, however often that you might train, so that you can be a great firefighter and a great person for your community? So your success of your fire station depends on you. When you make your firehouse a better place, you make your fire department and community a better place. Um, so let me ask you this. And again, this is different the platform I'm using to teach this class, because it's very interactive with people in the classroom. So I'm going to be asking a lot of questions, and you just think about how you would answer them. When we talk about making your firehouse a better place, what are you doing? Do you have fire prevention programs in place? Are you going out to the schools, talking to the children? Do you have smoke alarm programs in place? Do you participate in your community events, parades, things of that nature? And also, one thing I like to throw in here is, do you have uniforms? Because that is a sign of being a professional and being prideful in what you're doing. You know, they say pride is one of the seven deadly sins, but pride has its place in everything. And having pride in your fire department is a good thing. Uh, Being prideful is not, but having pride in your fire station and your intent on what you're doing is an absolute great thing. So, if you're out there and you say, well, we're just a volunteer fire department and we can't afford that, make a way to afford it, because it really means a lot to the firefighters that come through your doors, that they can be proud of who they are and what they look like, and that they are a service to the community. So just make sure that you're thinking about the little things that some people don't think about when they're building a fire station or a firehouse. What motivates people? What makes them want to come back to the place that you're asking them to come back to 2 and 3 nights a month to train? And I'm saying that for volunteer side. I know the career, you're there 24 hours sometimes at a time, and serving your community as well. Um, and this, if you do some of these things, the people that you attract into your fire department, they're going to stay if they feel valued and they feel like that there are a value to their community, and be proud of who they are. I've been in this for going on 41 years, August the 8th, and there's been so many people that have come through our doors and become better people by being a part of the fire service. Sometimes they come to us broken and just searching for a purpose and an identity, to be a place to fit in. And that's what our fire departments can do. They can be a place for people to come in and be a positive person in their community once they sign in and are really a part of the process. I don't know if you know who John Wooten is, but he is a UCLA basketball coach who used to coach basketball there. And I'm a big fan of his books and his quotes. So you'll see some of his quotes throughout my presentation. And one I thought that fit this scenario here is when you improve a little each day, and the emphasis being on you, eventually big things occur. And that was one of his quotes, and I thought it was worthy to be there. So let's talk about mission statements and vision statements. We all should have them. So do you know if you have them? If you don't know whether or not you have a vision or a mission statement in your department, then your leadership is not doing a very good job of letting you know why you're there and what your mission is. How can you ask somebody to do something when they really have no idea what their mission is? Just think about it in that context. If you don't have them, then why not? Is it because nobody ever sat down and took the time to really think through it and write them down on a piece of paper, put them on the wall? I mean, it ain't got to be anything fancy. You can sit there and create them on your computer, but they need to be hung on a wall. They need to be posted on the wall so that people coming in and through your doors know what your mission is and what the vision is that you have for your fire station. As an officer, let's talk about that a little bit. You're in a position of leadership. Your responsibility is to bring a group of firefighters together so that they reach their greatest level of competence and potential. That's a lot of words, and a lot of big words right there, and a lot of work in that statement. The real challenge is to bring individual firefighters together as a highly performing team. Uh, that is easier said than done. And you think about this. If you all examine your own fire departments, generally there's 20 to 30 people on a roster. Here at Logan, I have 80 people on a roster. But in my volunteer world, I have around 30 people on the roster at this time. So the challenge is to bring all those personalities together and have them operate as a high performance team when you get out on a scene, when you're out there doing your job. Everyone's not going to always agree on how things are done or why they're done, But when you hear those tones drop, everybody needs to be on the same page. There needs to be respect shown. Um, it's just very important as an officer that you are, as the leadership, are providing people with all the tools necessary so that they become competent in their job. Make sure you tell your firefighters that you're proud of them as an officer. Um, I mean, people like to be appreciated and want to know what they're doing is approved by the leadership and noticed. Um, and make sure you know that you always remember where you come from. You were a firefighter before you were anything. So always remember what being the firefighter is, because that's the coolest job in the fire department. Being the firefighter, being that person on the end of that line, running into the building and doing all the things that we train for, there is not a more awesome job in the world than that. So remember where you came from. And even as an officer, you know, when you're training your folks, make sure that you don't forget where you come from, and make sure that you just use common sense in making decisions. Progress is going to occur uh, when a skillful leader sees the opportunity to change things for the better. That's a quote from Harry Truman. So when you have an opportunity to make things better, try to seize that opportunity when you see it happen. You really need to be in tune with your fire department and understand that as an officer, you are the backbone of your fire department. You are the person who supports your chief and brings their ideas into play. And you have a very important role as a fire officer to have to cultivate a good environment and help people reach their greatest level of confidence and potential. Now, as an individual, you know, what can I do as an individual? And here's some things for you. It's important to acknowledge that you are in total control of your success. My most successful firefighters did not need me pushing them. I did push them, but they were motivated by the love of the job. Okay. They loved their job and they were highly motivated by it. Uh, your success is not on other firefighters, not on other crews, not on other stations, um, and not your chief. It's entirely up to you as an individual how successful you will be as a firefighter. Yeah, that's totally on you. You create the environment that you're in. You know, are you going to be that negative Nancy, or are you going to be that person that is happy to be there and shows it when they walk through the door? You know, your fire station, be the fire station that sets example in your community. You don't have to compare it to other stations. Be that station, be the one that stands out amongst all the others for doing the right thing and being having that ownership and pride in what you're trying to do. So just ask yourself, are you doing all the things that you need to do as an individual to be a good leader? And a definition of a leader I like to use sometimes is that a leader is a person that you would follow to a place that you would not go by yourself. So are you that leader? Are people willing to follow you and risk their life uh, at this time and place? A little bit more about success. We talk about you and your excess. All that can ever be asked of you is to do your very best and to help others be the best that they can be. You know, you don't have to be Superman, you don't have to be the best at everything, but you do need to challenge yourself to be the very best you can. in the station and out of the station. That goes for all aspects of our life. Success, again, another John Wooten, is a peace of mind that is direct result of self satisfaction on knowing you gave your best effort to become the best of which you are capable. A lot of good words right there in that statement. So, we're capable of doing a lot. The question is, are you motivated? Are you motivated to be the best? Are you motivated to be successful? Do you understand that you are a servant when you come into the fire world and the fire departments and service? Um, you're a servant. You're a servant to more than just your community. When you're out there helping people, you're a servant of the kingdom. So just think about those things when you go through and you're wondering, well, what can I do to improve myself? Well, what you can do is be the very best you can be. And if all of us are doing our best, then there's nothing stopping us from being great. The best way to improve the team is to improve yourself. I think that's basically what we just said. Uh, the price of leadership is responsibility. Once you accept a leadership position, you are accepting a lot of responsibility. And here's another thing. There's going to be days when you don't feel like being positive in the situation that you've walked into. But as a good leader, you need to stay positive, stay focused, whether you feel like it or not. You still set the tone of how things are going to go down on that fire ground or in that firehouse. So if you walk in positive, cheerful, and ready to train, then the people that are coming into your station are going to be that same way as well. You are in control of yourself. So don't come in like with a kick the dog kind of attitude. I'd like to see everybody coming in with the attitude that says, Lord, thank you for waking me up again today and allowing me to help somebody today. Just think about what your day would start like if you thought that way every morning when your feet hit the floor. Instead of just grumbling and fussing about, oh Lord, here we go again, another day. What kind of attitude is that? So, improve yourself. That's the best way to improve your team. They're going to watch what you do. They're going to watch what you do, not what you say, but what you do. You know, talent is God given, and we have a lot of talented people in the fire service. Be humble. If God has given you a great talent, fame is man given, so be grateful for the people who feel like you deserve that. But conceit is self given, so be very careful as you go through your career in the fire service to be humble, and be grateful that God has placed you in this place in our fire service as it is today. All right, so now let's get into a little bit more about some of the meat of the program. Some of the problems. I told you we were going to talk about some of the problems in the fire service, so here we go. One of the problems we have is when we have old people versus young people. And we shouldn't view that as a problem, but sometimes we do. I liken them to like we have cave people, we have movers and shakers, and we have extremists. Uh, the old people are generally your cave people, as I call them, are old in their way of thinking. They don't want to change. That's the way we've always done things. And not old people are like this. I consider myself, well, I don't consider myself old, but I'm 66 going on 67, so you can call it old if you want to, but age is a number, okay? But we do have people who like the status quo, who don't like to mix things up. They like to keep things the same. And we also have movers and shakers, which a lot of the young people that come into the service, they're gung ho. They're ready to move some things, shake some things, change some things around. And it gives us, those people actually give us energy. They challenge us. They should challenge us. They shouldn't be a threat to us. Um, they should, the older folks have the wisdom and the knowledge that the younger folk are seeking. So, be a mentor to these young people coming in. We're going to have old attitudes. We're going to have young attitudes. Are they different? Well, yes, they're different, but different's not always bad. I mean, we're all different if you want to get right down to it. Each of us think differently, react differently, and think differently. So, it's not a bad thing to be different. It brings a lot of diversity into our firehouses, different ways of thinking, looking at things. So we got to utilize all the strengths and talents to make our place a better place. Um, you also have your extremist that I mentioned earlier that want everything done by the book, do not deviate from the policies and procedures, and they want you held accountable, and they are ready to hang you from the highest rafter if you deviate from the plan. So there's kind of like those three different personalities that we may run into in our fire stations, and so we have to learn how to deal with all those folks and try to work with them. Just pull from their strengths, talk about the weaknesses of what they're trying to accomplish, and overcome those weaknesses with people with different mindsets, different ways of doing things. Don't be afraid to try new things. Lord, the fire service has evolved over the last 40 years to it's just, unless you've been there, it's just hard to really imagine. And I could see it even evolving more as time progresses on. But, we went from having no bunker pants and rubber boots to protect our legs, uh, the coats that were just barely protecting us from the fire. There wasn't a such thing as a Nomex hood. When I joined our fire department, the Russellville Rural Fire Department, back in 83 or 4, when I joined, we actually had 2 air packs. And my question was, well, how do we determine who gets those air packs? And basically, the answer was the first ones on the scene get the air pack. So you wanted to be the first one there if you were going to fight fire. So I guess that was a motivational tool. But you can tell how things have really evolved over the years to where now it's unacceptable for you to put yourself in danger or harm's way without the proper PPE, without the proper SCBA, and all those things. So we've come a long way. Uh, just noting at the bottom here, we talk about all fires start small and get bigger, and I refer to that as problems. Uh, all problems start big, they get smaller. So that's kind of what it's likened to. So if you have a problem with the young versus the old, or you may have people who just see things differently, you have got to do a check right then and there, and don't delay in attending to the issues that you have at hand, because if you delay, it's going to get bigger. And I can tell you that firsthand. I mean, I've experienced it, and at this day and time, I don't tolerate a lot of gossip and drama, if you will, in my firehouse. Because if you start that mess, then I'm going to call you out on it. So make sure that you're listening, to what the problem is. Make sure you check your emotions and set the tone again when you have these differences. But this can be a positive thing. I want you to take away from this as old versus young being very positive. Think about you're passing the torch to a younger generation. I'm right there on that brink of handing down my torch to the next generation. And what do I want them to remember me by? Do I want them to remember me as being a positive person in their scenario, or one that's not? So we talked a little bit about this already, and what I call smoke is disagreements, personality conflicts. It can be between two people, groups. Um, Good leaders are going to require you to come up with the solutions to your problem. We've got to be fair. We've got to listen. We've got to make sure that cliques don't form in our fire stations. Uh, if you have gossip going on, stop it, nip it right in the bud, as Barney Fife would say. You have to nip that right in the bud. Well, how do I do that? Well, you do it by addressing the person face to face. There should never be any back to face conversations or things of that nature going on. If you're going to talk about it to the person that you need to talk it out with. I tell my folks, take it to the back room or take it to the back lot. I really don't care. But when you come back, I want it fixed. I want you to be on the same page and in agreement that you guys are able to work together, and let's get this ball rolling down the court. So that's kind of how I do it. I make them face their opponent, whoever it is, not in a group setting, but they go out one on one and talk it out. And you guys will be surprised at how much just people talking face to face will clear up a conflict. A lot of times it's just miscommunication. Anybody can be what I call keyboard warriors now, or gossip spreaders. But when you actually have to talk to that person in their face, you can keep a lot of conflict out of your house. And I can tell you right now that if I hear gossip or things going on, smoke, you got to stay engaged in the firehouse and know what's going on. If I hear those things going on, I'm going to nip it right there in the bud and say, okay, I heard this about you and you. You got a problem. Go out. Let's get it fixed. And if you guys can't get it fixed, then come back and then I will fix it for you. And you're not going to probably like how I fix it, because my job is to keep my firehouse's integrity intact and make sure that it's a safe place for people to come and it is a positive environment for people to come. To want to train and be happy and get away from the drama of life and come in to do something useful. So, it's my job to protect that in my firehouse, and I will at all cost. Fire department success has nothing to do with your arm patch, your fire chief, or how many firefighters you have, how many alarms you respond to every year, how many years of service you have, how much equipment you have. Fire department success has everything to do with you. Just remember, as a leader, you are the spark plugs in the engine for your chief. And if one of you fail out, then the engine's not going to run smoothly. You may not agree with everything that the top leadership has in your department, but you need to pass it down to the colleagues in your fire station as positive and that you are going to support it, because their actions are going to be based on what you say, how you say it, and the way that you present it to them. So make sure that you as an officer are doing your part to keep harmony in the fire station. This is a slide that I stole from John Wooten as well, and I turned it into the fire station pyramid of success. And I'm not going to go over all these things, but you can see, this definition of success pretty much hits home with every organization, you as a person, a single person. If you have all these things, self control, alertness, attentiveness, friendship, you're loyal, you're enthusiastic, you're going to be successful. You're going to be successful. So, if you get these slides at the end of it, feel free to share them with whoever. But this is his slide, and I just kind of changed it to the fire station's pyramid of success, because I truly believe that the people we place in our houses If they have all these things, and it doesn't mean you have to be great at all of them or that you're not, you can be working on all these things. None of us are perfect. None of us are the perfect picture of this pyramid, but it gives us things to look at and things that we can work on. All of us need to work on things to be better. So this is your pyramid right here to kind of work on some of these things. And if you fail, let me just say it's not all about you. If you fail to create an environment where people can succeed, you will fail. Again, that's about protecting the integrity of your firehouse. And you need to know as a leader that yours is not the only way of doing business. You've got to be open to change. You've got to be willing to seek advice from those who will be directly impacted by your decisions. If you include people in the decision making process, you will find that people will adapt to those processes, those changes, because they have been a part of it and it hasn't been just dictated down to them. So if you allow them to be a part of that, they will buy into it hook, line, and sinker, and you don't have to worry about enforcing it because they created it. These are their rules, these are the things that they agreed on. We go through policies and procedures at our firehouse and we scan over them, look at them, make sure that they're what we still want to abide by, and everybody signs off that yes, this is the way we're going to do business. So if someone breaks those rules and policies, they already know, hey, I agreed to this and yet I broke the policy. So let's talk about that. So again, just be willing to change and be open-minded about when people are trying to explain things to you or offer changing ideals, things like that. And above all, be kind. Your house has to be a safe place, okay? So, what does pride and ownership mean to you? John Lasky, he wrote a book about pride and ownership, and I was able to be at a seminar he was in, and it really stuck with me. So, some of the things that I would like to ask you today: do you own your department, or does the members own it? And by that, your goal should be that the members own your fire department. If they own it, then they're going to take pride in it. If it's your vehicle, you take pride in it versus it belonging to somebody else. So, do you have pride in your department? Do you have pride in your abilities? If not, then what are you doing about it? What are you doing to improve your abilities? What are you doing to make your department a better place to have pride in it when you walk in the doors? Do you love the job or do you just show up? Uh, you know, we're all professionals, whether you're volunteer, whether you're career, you should have pride and ownership in your fire department and take ownership. It only takes one bad apple to ruin the way you look in a lot of people's eyes. So, again, the pride and ownership, it takes honor, respect, it takes loyalty, and it takes work. So, just think about this. Do you have it? Examine yourself, examine your firehouse. What does it look like? Does it look like something you can be prideful in? Are you helping with the cleanliness of it? The mowing the yard, washing the trucks, making sure people have uniforms. What is it you can do to help your department have pride and ownership in its department? So just think about those things. Lack of retention, is this a problem? Most people it is. We're having a lot of lack of retention in the volunteer fire service. And if you're having this problem, first place you need to look is your leadership. What kind of environment are you promoting? Are you having a lot of horseplay, making fun of people? Or do you have a safe place where people can come and have fun and train to be the best they can be? Do you have a learning environment? A lack of effective leadership is our largest problem in retention today. So, how qualified are your leaders? Are you picking the best of the best? Paperwork don't qualify you as a good leader. It's all about your integrity, your inner strengths, how you integrate with people, how you communicate with people, how well you listen, and training. It is about, don't discredit training, because training is a big part of leadership. But a piece of paper, because you've accomplished something, doesn't make you a great leader. So don't let the incompetent leader, and there are a lot of incompetent leaders out there, and you all probably know one in your own house, destroy what you love to do. And do not let them destroy your passion. If you have a person like that, try to be a mentor to them. If you're in the top leadership, tell them your expectations. And also let them know that it takes years to grow a firefighter, and they can destroy what you've taken years to build. A person walks out that door because of an incompetent leader, it's not a good day for your station. You need to be willing to listen to others, to empower them and bring them to the heart of the organization. You have to have officers, or do you have officers who perform like human vacuums? And I think all of us have seen that. They think they're entitled, just sucking up privileges, just to say, well, I'm a captain, I'm a lieutenant, or whatnot. If you have those kinds of people in your organization, then you have a recipe for failure. So be careful, because this work is all about teamwork. Again, it's not about I. And if you're a chief and you're out there listening, and you're noticing that some of these things I'm saying, you're going to have to engage these people before they ruin your fire department, and they will. And here's the other thing. I've got a little secret, and you probably all know it, but there are some people who are not cut out for this job. Fire and EMS is not just for anybody. The job chooses you. You don't choose it, and that is why we have a high turnover. This job is for those who can commit to core values, pride, honor, and integrity. Again, are you ready for a life of selflessness? Are you ready for that life? Because that's what it is. And again, not everybody's cut out for this job. So we talked about the problem of dead wood and things of that nature. So how do you fire a volunteer? Well, the first thing you need to do is identify what the problem is. Is it non-attendance? If so, why are they not attending? Are they not a team player? They only show up for the fires. They don't want to come to the training. They don't come out for what they call the bad runs. They want to come out to the structure fires and the good stuff. Uh, they only want to come to the fires. Safety issues. Are you having safety issues with the person? Or are they causing smoke in your firehouse constantly? Are they drama, what I call drama persons? Nowadays we have a lot of people who thrive on drama and just seeing what they can stir up. You have to have accountability in your firehouses. Um, there's ways that we can get rid of our dead wood. So let's talk about those for a second. You've always heard, you can't fire me, I'm a volunteer. That is not true. People that do this for the right reasons are in it for heart and soul. They don't get a paycheck if they're volunteering. So they're in it for more than just being a volunteer. They are in it because they love it and they have passion for it. Things you got to have in place is policies and procedures. You have to be consistent and fair. Again, you set the tone. Be calm, stay calm, ask questions. And here's the best thing, you can let them fire themselves by having a one on one private talk with them. Okay? You always want to give them an opportunity to change their behaviors. But the best thing I have found over my years of doing this is just get the person in the room, set them down, have a conversation, and just ask them. I've noticed that you've not been coming to training or whatever the problem might be. Can you tell me what you are contributing to my firehouse? Can you tell me what you're bringing to the table that is positive by you being here? I want to know what it is that you feel like you're getting from being a volunteer. And then you just keep digging into that and you ask them, um, what is it that you want to get out of this? Where do you see yourself? What do you think some of the problems are? And also you want to actually dig into some of their personal life. It could be that people are having issues at home and that they just need a break from the fire station. They want to go inactive for a while. Always give them that out. We don't have to get rid of people or fire people per se, but we can give them an out to get themselves together, and then they have time to ask themselves, am I really the person I need to be, and to make this fire department better, or am I just taking up a radio, a pager, bunker gear? What is it am I doing? Am I making a difference? Okay. So if you will talk to people and just talk through things with them, a lot of times you'll find out things that you weren't aware of that was actually going on either in their life or behind the scenes at the firehouse. And again, there may be some things that you can change. So just that's one way I deal with people who are having issues within my station. So we're getting into the very last run here. So what now? Let's talk about why you're here. To get recognized, to be a hero, to say you're a firefighter, to have red lights, sirens, to know what's going on in town, to drive the fire truck, to have power control authority, to wear a uniform and a badge. Uh, these are some of the things you can ask yourself. Well, let's talk about why are you here. So now I'm going to tell you why you should be here. And this is we're getting down to the last stretch here. So these are things I want you to really pay close attention to. So the reason you should be in the fire service and be the best you can be, if it's your passion and pride, you may be the last face that a person sees. You need to understand that. You did not sign up for flipping burgers. You signed up for life and death situations. And did you know that you could be the answer? When that pager goes off, you're going to be the answer to somebody's prayer. They're in a situation that they've never been in before, and sometimes their life is going to depend on you and your abilities. Did you know your community depends on you to know? That's why you should come to training and to be the best that you can be. You have to get out there. You have to know what you're doing because that 17-year-old in a car crash is counting on you to know what you're doing. Did you not come to that class that night when we taught you how to use those extrication tools and you're on a volunteer fire department and you're one of 3 or 4 people that showed up and you don't know how to turn the pumps on if you're using the pumps to drive your tools? The battery powered are great, but some places still have those hydraulic tools. Do you know how to use the things that we need to do to mitigate these circumstances? Did you know that the frequent flyer call is personal to someone? Sometimes we get those calls and people are just needing somebody to see or talk to, and you could be someone's beautiful face or someone's angel. And I know some of you are sitting out there, Lord, I hope they're not looking at my face, but you would be surprised when you show up with compassion and integrity and caringness in your body movements and your motion, you are someone's angel at that given moment. Did you know that the last touch is worth it and that it's okay to show emotion and that you should show love and compassion to your customers and your fire department family? Daily or weekly, your life may hang in the balance. It is a dangerous job. And did you know that people are always watching you and how you act? They're always watching. So just make sure you know what it means to the people in your community for you to train, to attend your sessions, to be the best you can be. Because I think sometimes fire department members don't really understand what an impact they make. Did you know you may be the carrier of a last message? And did you know that you're going to see the ugly face of death multiple times in your career? Did you know that mother and fathers count on you when they lay their heads down at night? They're counting on you to come if their house catches on fire. They're counting on you when their teenager has that wreck. They throw their babies out the window to you, literally. Did you know that you should have pride and ownership of your fire department and it takes work? So who owns your fire department? And these are the things of why you should love your job, why you should attend your your monthly meetings and be the best that you can be. And did you know there's nothing else in the world like being a firefighter? It's the best job in the world, and I can attest to that. We do it all, uh, from getting cats out of the trees to the simplest of things to rescuing someone out of a burning building. People trust us with their most precious assets, and we have to treat people like our family. So, how do you want your family treated? How do you want the people responding to your crisis and your emergency? Do you want them to know what they're doing and take pride and ownership in that and get you out of that bad situation? Our mission is nothing more than to just take care of people and be nice. We're servants to our communities. That's what we are, men and women. We're servants. We're servants to the community. We're servants to the kingdom by helping other people in their times of need. Um, when it's all said and done, I want you to ask yourself this question: did you make a difference? Did you make a difference in your firehouse? Was it positive or was it negative? Because if everyone below you is a success, then you are a success in what you do. And that's pretty much wraps up my presentation. Um, just one more, I think there's one more slide there. You can read that for yourself. And I think we're at the questions and comments.
All right. Thank you, Chief Allen. Interesting topic. I did hear from one of my friends said agrees with everything you've said so far. But but we have uh, good attendance here. We have Yusuf Brahma from Ghana National Fire Service, friend of mine. He's been with us most every time. And then we also have, I will not say the name because I do not want to not pronounce it correctly, but we have a person from the Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority
Wow.
also in attendance. So you've got an international audience here as well today.
Awesome.
So we got people from Connecticut, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Nebraska as well attending. So, but you said it, and thank you for saying it again because I didn't catch the second word. But you talked about negative Nancy, and so when you look at this presentation, and how do you influence those young people? How do you change? Because you made the statement also is it's about trying to get them to change their behavior. How do you change that negative Nancy's behavior? Any ideas on that one?
Well, the best way I have found to change negative behavior is by surrounding it with positive behavior. If you have your group of leaders in the room who are positive, it's hard for people to be negative in that type of environment. But if you have leaders who are negative when they walk through the door, it's easy for other people to see that and play on that. So if you keep your leaders positive and just let them know that's your expectation, whether they agree with what's going on or what your decisions are about the department, uh, if they're walking into the room and saying, hey, this is how we're going to do things here, and it's about this is how we are going to do things, not about how chief wants to do it, but how we're going to do things. And we have these expectations, and I think that plays a lot into the negativity, and just one-on-one conversation sometimes with people who tend to stay negative. What's really eating at you? Because it's probably not the fire service. It's probably not things that are possibly going on in the fire service. It could just be that things are going on in their life outside of the fire service that causes them to drag that, what I call dead wood, into the firehouse. And I tell them, leave it at the door. This is a time when you can forget about everything else you're dealing with. I want you to come in here and train and be positive because you are training to save somebody's life and possibly your own.
All right. I got a question from our Pakistan friend. Can anyone provide soft form of fire aircraft rescue and firefighting manual latest edition? Ooh man. Um, so I don't know, uh, but if you would send JM Buckman 3RD at gmail.com, that's JM Buckman 3RD at gmail.com, I will forward that to the appropriate people at IFSTA that might be willing to share that with our friend in Pakistan. That's the best I can say for you. So that's the only other question in there. But I got one more for you because you mentioned John Wooden, and I showed you, I pulled that off my wall. And your fire station pyramid of success, again, I am one of those visual kind of people, so I like that. But you mentioned several times that you are in total control. How do you stay in total control of your emotions, your attitudes, your ethics, your integrity? What's the advice that you would have for a leader of how do you stay in total control?
Well, first off, you have to be good with who you are as a person. To stay in total control of yourself, you have to be okay with who you are, your knowledge, your abilities. Be confident in who you are. To stay in control in a bad situation. But that it's looking into oneself. Um, to maintain that control, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um, you have to be in control of you. I can't be in control of you. You have to know who you are. And yes, we all get upset, don't get me wrong, at different things, and we all have different emotions when things come at us. But if we try to practice that self control and practice holding the tongue, that's a big problem for a lot of us, is just holding the tongue and not saying things that we're going to regret later on down the road. And I found that if I just stop and just take a little time to just listen more, that I'll respond with a better attitude and answer versus just responding right off of the cuff. I try to soak it in. And I may just say to you, if people are upset or whatnot, let me get back with you in just a little bit. Let me think on this. Let me get back with you and just take some time to dig into it instead of just coming right off of the cuff with something that may not be appropriate. It's better to listen sometimes to people than speak right off the bat. I found a lot of times when I speak quickly, I don't speak correctly.
Yeah, I experienced that situation as well. I was never good at counting to 10, but
And I'm glad you said that because that is exactly what I tell my guys to do. I said, please, when you get there, just stop everything you're doing and count to 10 and take a deep breath because your brain is deprived of oxygen at that time. And you don't think rational things, you don't think rational thoughts, or respond rationally. So if you just count to 10 and take that deep breath, it gives the brain the oxygen it needs to function properly and give an adequate response to the problem.
yeah, yeah. Well, Chief, I want to close this presentation out. It's been great. Uh, Lots of information for our presenters. I'm sorry for our attendees. Your presentation was on target. I think that if our attendees will just pick up one or two things from this presentation today, they will be able to stay in total control of their attitude and their interactions with people. So again, I want to thank you for the effort you put into putting this together, and then for the presentation as well. So uh, for the attendees, you'll receive a link to a recorded session. Our Nan, our IFC moderator or coordinator, has posted the presentation slides. So they're in the handout section. So I encourage you to do that. And so for all of you who have attended, and again for Chief Allen, thank you very much. Thank all the attendees. Have a great day, and God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you, John, and it was my pleasure to be here today. And I pray God blesses each and every one of you.
You're welcome. Take care.